Hello everybody. We have a new Pope, Pope Francis I, elected during a Mercury retrograde in Pisces. Pisces ruling Christianity, particularly Pisces, the sign of the fish, Jesus the fish. So very strong happening during this time, and many astrologers thought that it was going to take a long time because we've got a Mercury retrograde, that they're probably going to deliberate on this for a long time. Well, what happened was that the moon went into Aries. And not long after the moon went into Aries, which is let's go, let's do it, let's get on with it, this was shortly after the decision was announced. So, interesting during a Mercury retrograde. Well, what is interesting is that during the last conclave, the gentleman who's been made Pope was second in the voting. So it's interesting that during the retrograde it's come back again and actually has come to him this time. Quite fitting. What's also interesting during the retrograde is that they've chosen yet another old Pope. Yeah, the last Pope was 77 when he was elected. This one is 76. Let's hope, please pray that he's healthy and that he will be well. But nonetheless, this is quite an old man, and they've repeated that decision. Very often during a retrograde, things get repeated. Interesting as well is that he reversed the typical order of blessings. When he came out onto the balcony there, instead of him blessing the people, he had the people pray for him. A real typical Mercury retrograde moment in reversing what was normally done. I'd like to take a moment just to look at his chart. Now, there's a lot of controversy about the time of birth. I've seen a few of astrologers have been discussing it. It seems there's a possibility that he was born at 11:50 a.m. on the 17th of December 1936 in Buenos Aires. So we're going to go with that, but I'm going to discuss aspects anyway that no matter what the time was, that will stand no matter what. So, interesting, we have a sun in Sagittarius, which is the philosopher, which rules religion, but it's conjunct the North Node, which gives him a real charisma, a real drive this lifetime to really get to the bottom of theology, philosophy, why we're here, the importance of having meaning to life. This will have been a big search for him. And it's been said that he's been very austere, lived a life of austerity and simplicity. And not surprisingly, having Mercury in Capricorn and Jupiter also in Capricorn, fairly close to one another, which would indicate a feeling of frugality and being careful with resources. Interesting that he told the Argentinians not to spend the money on coming to Rome, but to give the money away to the poor rather than spending it on an air flight and travelling. He's also got his moon and Venus conjunct in Aquarius. Aquarius is future thinking and is also the humanitarian of the zodiac. And having Venus and the moon together in Aquarius, he may well be a pope who is really one of those popes who communicates, who's ready to use technology, who may even tweet and Facebook and become more personable through this Aquarian influence. So don't be surprised if you see technology emerging in the church in a way that can be helpful, that can be inclusive. We've got Saturn opposition to Neptune in Virgo. Saturn in Pisces opposite Neptune in Virgo. On this axis, what this means is that he has a strong feeling responsibility for the spirituality of the people, but nonetheless trying to find a balance with the people's needs on a very practical level. So it's the Pisces and the Virgo energy opposite with the Saturn and Neptune energy that gives him this desire to find this balance. I really just wanted to say as well that what's interesting are the planets that are now affecting him. So right now, transiting Pluto is on his natal Mercury. So this is a time for deep soul searching, deep wisdom to come from him and the people around him. And one can only pray that this Pluto will not be a force that goes in and is secretive, but will be a force that will probably dig up some more things from the past. I'm expecting that, I'm anticipating it. His progressed moon is in Scorpio, along with progressed Mars here, also in Scorpio, which indicate that he's going to have to deal with issues around sexuality. And many of you probably have read that he follows the church doctrine around homosexuality. I think these things, and abortion, these things are going to have to be addressed, and I think that they are going to come out strongly during his time as the Pope. So really, I guess what I'm seeing and feeling during the Mercury retrograde is that he's going to have an opportunity to reinvent the church, to bring about some reform in the church because of the dwindling numbers of people, and he's probably going to have to address women in the church as well. So it's going to be a very interesting time. I'm also interested to see that when Mercury goes direct, what may need to be repeated. I'm expecting things that will have been missed, that we'll see being repeated. So I just wanted to share that with you, and I'll see you again soon. Hope you're surviving the Mercury retrograde and not having too many things go awry on you. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.